Dear brothers and sisters, the gospel today presents us with the generosity of a poor widow. The scene is in the temple of Jerusalem during the time of liturgy. This poor widow is presented in contraposition to the scribes. Jesus observes how the scribes love to walk around with long robes to be seen, greeted, revered, and even given places of honor. Yet they are the ones who manipulate and exploit the poor. The rich come in and give large amounts out of their surplus, that whatever they give is not an act of sacrifice, but an act meant to attract the attention from others. Theirs is an act of superficiality, an appearance, and even an act of hypocrisy, which distances their giving from being sacrificial and thus from being a true act of worship. Dear brothers and sisters, Jesus praises the poor widow because she gives all that she has. She has transformed her act of giving into an act of sacrifice, and thus hers has become a true act of worship, which results into a confident trust and relying in God's abundance. This reminds us that in the criterion and in the standards of God, what matters is not how much we give in terms of quantity. Otherwise, the rich and the powerful will always outdo the poor and the weak, but the quality of our self-sacrifice and self-giving. This self-giving must never be forced or be out of manipulation or coercion, but it is to be, for it to be a true act of worship, it must be done in freedom and in love. Giving becomes an act of worship not because of the proportion of its amount or of the amount given, but because of the magnitude of the sacrifice involved. The act of generosity expressed by the widows in today's readings finds its completeness in the second reading, in that the generosity of the widows is a reflection of the love of God the Father, which is made manifest and visible in the self-giving of the Son Jesus, who in his turn accepts to freely give himself for us on the cross. Faith is not a question of how much status, position, or authority we have, but the value that comes from our self-giving. And at this point, what matters first is the giving of our very selves. Pope John Paul II reminds us that our being increases in the measure in which we give it away, and not in the measure in which we hold it back. And even Mother Teresa of Calcutta reminds us that it's not how much we give that counts, but how much love we put into giving. Today, let us be convinced that no one is too poor to give something, and no one is too rich to have nothing to receive. We all have something to give. Money is not the only thing an individual can give. Being rich does not mean that you have everything. Being poor does not mean that you have nothing. No one is too poor to give love, compassion, mercy, help, appreciation, understanding, and many others. And nobody is too rich that he cannot receive something, because everyone needs love, happiness, mercy, compassion, and other things that money can never buy. Every one of us can give something, and every one of us can receive something.